This is Eyewitness News on KDOC-TV with live breaking news.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to KDOC-TV. I'm David Ono, and we want to bring you right to this breaking news going on in Riverside County. Hundreds of firefighters and multiple aircraft are fighting a fast-growing fire in Cherry Valley. There are multiple structures down there and threatened as we speak. Let's go to Chris Christie in our 7HD for the details. Chris?
David, they are dispatching the cavalry out here as this fire has exploded in the last hour or so. The official acreage here is about 40 acres, but that really doesn't tell the story. There are several spot fires around this neighborhood along Oak Glen Road here in Cherry Valley. Just north of Bogart Regional Park is where we are. This is called the Apple Fire. There are several tankers already busy making water drops, as well as a number of helicopters. And as we peer through the smoke, by the way, we've just arrived on scene here in the last couple of minutes, and as we look through here, we can clearly see that this fire is burning very close to a neighborhood that is under an evacuation order. Beaumont High School being used as an evacuation center. And as you can see from this shot here, there are houses that we are spotting that are basically already surrounded by flames and very large plumes of smoke that are coming very close to this neighborhood. Right along Oak Glen Road and Sycamore Street is where we are looking here. That's Oak Glen Road right there, running north to south, and you can see these little spot fires that are developing up and down Oak Glen Road. Most of the fire staying to the east of Oak Glen. You can see they've already begun drawing some battle lines here with the fire retardant, that Phos-Chek right there on the left side, a tanker making a drop just a few moments ago. But there is fire around this neighborhood. So far, though, David, we have not seen any structures on fire. But again, that evacuation is already underway. Reporting live from Air 7 HD, I'm Chris Christie, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Chris, let's stay with us just for a little bit longer. Yeah, they've been very precise, surgical on that Phos-Chek, which is good news. But as you got there, we were watching your shot, and there are homes all through there, even in that area where people can't quite see due to the smoke and the flames. There are some substantial properties back there. What concerns me, Chris, is the fact that these homes, there's another big one right there. Look at all the fuel that's around them. A lot for this fire to burn.
A lot of heavy fuel. They're saying unofficially this could impact upwards of 1,000 acres before they can get a handle on it. As I look out the window here, they have the opportunity to continue these drops and hope that the fire doesn't spread into the neighborhood if they can kind of draw an imaginary line and keep this fire on the north side of these homes here. I think what's underneath all of that smoke is basically just rugged terrain with a lot of heavy brush, as you mentioned. The neighborhood appears to be entirely on the south side. However, you can see a handful of properties here that are clearly being threatened, and some of those homes are rather large, as you can see in this shot right here. That's a house right along Avenida Mirabella Lane here in Cherry Valley.
Right, structure protection, they are in place. They're on the ground. They're hitting it in the air as well. The big question that we have now is, what is the weather doing? It's an extremely hot day. So as Chris continues to watch this fire, we want to bring in Danny Romero to the conversation. Sure. Danny, and you told us earlier, triple digits in Riverside.
Yeah, I tell you, we had that 100, 101 degrees of the high for today around that Riverside area, but now it's down right about 95 or so in that general area. So temps are in that mid to upper 90s range. But the humidities, those are the ones that are really concerned right now, because the winds aren't a big factor. In that area, the winds are basically in the teens, 12 to 13, 14, 15 miles per hour, the occasional gusts maybe to 20. Now, of course, the winds kind of get generated that make their own kind of winds in those fire zones. However, we will see the temps stay warm in the nighttime hours. Now, the humidities, those are certainly of concern because those are dry. We're talking about readings in the humidity level around 15, 16%. So that's very dry conditions for that area. So combine the dry conditions with those very warm temps, still in the 90s here in the 7 o'clock hour. Winds not a big factor, but the dryness and the heat, that's still big enough to really cause concern for the firefighters on those lines right now.
And the heat is not going to go away anytime soon, Danny. There's nothing like a cool marine layer that's going to be moving in.
No, that's still a couple of days away from getting that far inland. At the coast, certainly, yes. But on the Inland Empire and those areas there to the east, it's still very much away from that sea breeze, so it's just dry and hot.
Okay, so thanks, Danny, for the update. We'll check back with you in a little while. Let's go back to the fire right now, and you can see the winds are blowing, as Danny mentioned, 15 to 20 mile per hour winds. They're moving the fire just a little bit, but the danger right now, of course, is the heat and the fuel, and all through there, a bunch of homes. And Chris, how's your perspective now?
Yeah, David, see these little spot fires right here? These are the big threat to these homes. The main body of fire, the really big fire, is all burning to the east of this neighborhood, and the wind is blowing in that direction. So that's the good news, but there's these little spot fires that are spreading throughout the neighborhood that are really threatening those properties, and that's what they're trying to avoid right now as they engage in structure protection throughout this neighborhood. Once again, we're right along Oak Glen Road here in Cherry Valley near Sycamore Street. You can see fire department already arriving on scene in this neighborhood. They've dispatched upwards of 20 to 30 fire trucks. There's another 20 to 30 on the way out here as they are going to be needed to protect all of these structures. You could see just how close right there. There's a great example of a spot fire that's just popped up right next to a very large home. That one's going to be right along Camino del Norte and only about 86 feet from that property line. And you can see there is no fire truck there just yet. But these little fires, that is the main threat. The rest of the fire can burn all it wants to the east, and it won't threaten anybody. But these spot fires are really going to cause big headaches for the people in this neighborhood.
Yeah, you can see some firefighters right there surveying the situation, trying to figure out how to tactically go about fighting this fire. That was a remarkable look there from SkyMax 7, showing us how close those flames are to that home. Stressful moments for homeowners out there. And by the way, this is something that's visible for a large part of Southern California. That shot right there is from a Running Springs camera called Keller Peak, and you can see all the smoke that's being pushed up by this fire. That shows you the tremendous amount of fuel that is burning right now. You could even see this fire from our Malibu camera many miles away, and it's still visible all the way from Malibu. So that shows you the huge plume of smoke that's hitting Southern California right now. And Chris, any idea what firefighters, what groups are on this fire?
The Division of Forestry is out here, but I believe the fire command is going to be Riverside County Fire. And you're so right. We actually were able to see the smoke, the big plume of smoke from the San Fernando Valley as we took off from Van Nuys Airport, and we just saw it growing minute by minute as we made our way all the way out here, and you could see that wall of smoke that's enveloping this neighborhood here. Again, a number of streets that are seeing these spot fires develop. There's the plume of smoke right there that is visible throughout the Southland. In fact, we've seen a lot of tweets and people concerned on Facebook wondering where this is coming from. Well, you're looking at it. It's Cherry Valley in Beaumont, right along Oak Glen Road, and we'll go ahead and start zeroing in on some of these streets here that we see these spot fires burning on. That one right there along Edgar Canyon Road, and then another group right there at the intersection of Apple Tree Lane and Edgar Canyon. All of that Edgar Canyon Road basically lined with homes on the west side, while the fire for now is hopefully going to remain on the east side, and that is what they are focusing their water drops on, as well as some of the tankers as well. But the water drops are really going to focus on the neighborhood for now, is what we've been observing so far. Also, you can see Camino del Norte and Avenida Mirabella. So that same neighborhood right there, really under the gun right now as fire trucks pull into the neighborhood and try and get these spot fires out. And these spot fires, unfortunately, are burning, they're terrain-driven spot fires, so they're burning uphill, and those are really difficult to access, and they're really going to rely on those helicopter water drops to get a handle on. You can see the strike teams out there doing their best with the hand lines. They've got billy goat teams climbing the hillside at times, but that fire right there that you can see on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, that's going to be a helicopter water drop that puts that fire out and saves those homes on the west side. Just a really, really tense situation here when you see a neighborhood like this literally surrounded by spot fires. Again, the acreage is really not too important here. The official acreage, only 40 acres, but it doesn't begin to describe what firefighters are dealing with when you see so many of these fires popping up. We don't have the heavy winds to spread those embers, But as Danny mentioned, you do have the wind in the teens, and you have this terrain-driven spot fire right here as an example, just racing up that hillside with lots of fuel left to burn.
Yeah, that is a tremendous amount of fuel. Now, just to let our viewers
There's the
know.
water drop.
Yeah, there you go, and you hit that on the nose. To let our viewers know, we first reported this fire a little more than an hour ago, and the early reports said that this fire broke out in multiple spots off of one of those roads that you're over right now. I don't know if that is an indication of criminal activity or what. We don't know officially how this fire broke out, but you could see the damage from that, not having it in one particular spot, but multiple spots to fight, and then as a result, and combined with the amount of fuel, this thing is really moving throughout this neighborhood. As you can see, firefighters are trying to get in place. More are on the way. That's some of the older burn areas that started a little bit earlier this afternoon, so maybe it started somewhere near there, Chris, and worked its way over to our right.
That's what we're thinking up here. That very likely could be where this fire ignited. You can see that has already been cooled down, and all of the rest of the fire is to the south and to the east of that point right there. It looks like it may have started right along Oak Glen Road and just spread from there. And that would explain the behavior of the fire. If we rule out arson as a cause for these other spot fires here, you can see how the terrain and the wind would do the rest of the work just to carry that fire over to the east. All of this east of Oak Glen Road, that's what it looks like without the smoke right there. And you can see behind that smoke is all open terrain. There's not a whole lot of property once you get to the east of, what's that road right there, Rob? That's Avenida Mirabella. Once you get to the east of Avenida Mirabella, it's all open land over there. So if they can contain these spot fires here and protect those homes up on top of the hill, that'll go a long way in saving this neighborhood and letting the rest of this fire burn towards the east, especially since they have the winds working in their favor here. Not a lot of heavy winds. The little wind that there is all blowing to the east, which is basically all open land. But you have houses like that right there that are looking to the west as they look into the sun, and you see these spot fires. That's the main focus of attention at this point.
Yeah, structure protection is going to be key in saving these homes because that fire is really spread out with a lot to burn. Now, I have some new information here. They're now saying that this fire is estimated to be 100 acres, but as Chris mentioned, it's spread out all over the place. It's not the acreage that's the problem. It's the multiple spots that are hot right now. As you can see, structure protection is in place. It's burning in a community called Cherry Valley. It's in Riverside County. It's just north of Beaumont and Calamasa, and it's on the way to Oak Glen. And if you're familiar with this area, this is also near where the many apple orchards are. So that's what we're dealing with right now. So as we continue to assess the situation, Chris is going to stay over it and watch it. Danny's going to be watching the weather as well. We're going to go back to this story in just a few minutes, but we do want to give you the latest headlines when it comes to the coronavirus. So we'll check back with you in just a second, Chris. In the meantime,
you got it.
All right, so let's move on there and quickly get to. Wait, hang on one second. I'm getting an update right now from Ron. What's up, Ron? We're going to stay on it? Okay. Hey, Chris, I misspoke. We're going to stay on this because it looks like it's really heating up. So we're going to stay over this situation, the smoke, a tremendous amount of smoke where you could see throughout Southern California.
That's good. What else? Any other, was that what you were going to tell me? Or any other details?
Our apologies. Chris is talking to somebody else. I told them that we were pulling off, but we're not going to pull off of this right now. And there you see another water drop from a sky crane there. We are dealing with the sun setting right now. So the sun setters are those air currents could kick in, and also what's going to happen when the sun goes down. Will they be able to maintain their air attack on this fire, or will it have to be moved specifically to just ground crews, which could be a real problem for the many homes that are in that area? Let's see if we can bring back Chris Christie in Air 7 HD. Chris, sorry about that. I thought we were pulling off, but we're not. So what is the concern now as the sun is setting? Will we see the air support go away?
Well, interesting because they have already dispatched a 747, apparently taking off, I believe, from Sacramento on the way down here. It's not expected to get here until 8 o'clock. However, there should still be some daylight once he arrives, and hopefully they can get some productive water drops in. In the meantime, there are plenty of local tankers that are doing a bulk of the work right now. We've also seen a couple of sky cranes that have made some of the water drops within the neighborhood. They're trying to clear some of the local roads here where they see people driving up the road. That's getting in the way of some of the precision water drops.